All right, today we are diving into a really unusual philosophy about money. One that says every single dollar you touch is actually a direct test of who you are as a person. So let's get right into it.
So let's start with a question I think we've all asked ourselves at some point. Have you ever seen someone handle their money, or maybe someone else's money, in a way that just made you kind of stop and think, what does that say about them? Well, that exact feeling is the jumping off point for this whole idea.
So first up, a question of money. Let's explore that link between a person's character and how they handle their cash. What's so interesting is that these are the exact scenarios that were brought up to a spiritual teacher. You know the type, right? The coworker who's a little too generous with the company credit card, the friend who always seems to forget to pay you back, or that one person who, without fail, orders the most expensive thing on the menu when someone else is picking up the tab. These are those moments that really make you wonder about someone's integrity.
And this is where it gets really fascinating. A spiritual teacher was asked point blank, are these things a good way to judge a person's character? And his answer wasn't just a simple yes or no. Oh no, he offered a completely different way of looking at money itself. Which brings us to our next section. Money is a test. The absolute core of this philosophy is that money isn't just stuff, it's a living force.
Okay, so the foundational idea here is something called mass. The teaching goes that every single person has a certain capacity, a sort of inner strength to handle money. That's your personal mass. You can almost picture it like a bucket. You can only attract and hold on to the amount of money your bucket can actually support. If you try to pour in more than you're ready for, well, it's just going to overflow and be lost.
And this is the crucial point. Getting money isn't just about luck or desire or even how hard you work. According to this philosophy, every single dollar that flows into your life, whether it's a paycheck, a gift, or even a loan, it's a test. It's showing up to see what you're going to do with it.
And here's how that test supposedly works. If you handle the money you're given with real wisdom and integrity, more is going to come your way. It's like you're being entrusted with more responsibility. But if you misuse it, it's going to be taken away. The source material literally says that money has eyes, which is such a wild idea. It suggests it's not some passive thing, but an active force that is literally watching and responding to what we do.
Okay, you might want to buckle up for this next part. We're about to get into the most challenging, the most counterintuitive piece of this whole philosophy, and it's all about something we have really strong feelings about: debt.
Yeah, you read that correctly. The direct advice from this teacher was, if you don't want to repay a debt, don't. Now, I know, this goes against basically everything we are ever taught about responsibility and fairness. So what in the world could be the logic behind saying something like that?
It's a perfectly fair question, and it's probably what you're thinking right now. Is this just giving people a free pass to be totally irresponsible? Well, according to this way of thinking, the answer is a hard no. There's something much, much deeper going on here.
Section 4, the unseen reasons. Let's try to unpack the really surprising logic here, which goes way beyond a simple sense of right and wrong. This slide just lays out the difference perfectly. On one side, you've got what we all know. Not paying a debt is wrong, it's an ethical failure, period. But on the other side, this teacher completely reframes it. He says a really strong resistance to paying someone back isn't just someone being difficult, it's a signal. A signal that there is a deeper lesson that needs to be learned by everyone involved, not just the borrower, but the lender too.
And that's why trying to force the repayment can actually backfire. According to this teaching, if you try to fight against that natural signal, that strong resistance, and you force the money to be repaid, you could end up creating even bigger problems and more suffering for everybody.
But let's be super clear about this. This is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. The philosophy is absolutely firm that if you keep money that isn't rightfully yours, it will never, ever benefit you. It'll just be wasted or spent on silly things or even used in ways that end up hurting you. The teacher even calls money the people's blood, like it's this vital life force for all of us, and says that when you misuse it, it brings its own automatic punishment.
So, with all that said, what is the real lesson here? Well, in our final section, we're going to see how to follow the flow.
And this is really the practical takeaway. The next time you see someone who looks like they're just throwing money away or being completely irresponsible, the advice here is to just hold back your judgment. According to this teaching, there is always an underlying reason for that behavior, a lesson that person is trying to work through.
And here's why that actually matters for you. The teacher claims that when you waste your own energy judging and criticizing or even just worrying about how other people are handling their money, you are actively blocking your own financial progress and your own learning. You get caught up in their stuff instead of focusing on your own path.
So the real work, then, is always internal, and the process is actually pretty simple. Step 1. Just stop judging how other people use their money. Step 2. Start seeing your own financial situations, the good and the bad, as lessons specifically for you. And step 3. Just focus on using the resources you have, wisely and with integrity.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We're so used to thinking of money as a tool, something we use to get what we want. But what if that's not what it is at all? What if every transaction, every debt, every dollar you earn or lose is really a lesson in disguise? What if your wallet isn't a tool, but a teacher? Thanks for joining us.